welcome to another video. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Today I want to tell you how to make metallic sounds. These sounds can be actually pretty useful for layering with snare. I'm going to show you how to make these sounds in Serum. Let's see an example. As you can see, there is a layer which is high frequency rich, which is the reason why you can kind of hear that tonal part of the snare, which is this layer. There is this layer as well, which is the normal snare. Let me show you how it sounds like in context. Let's just remove that. And with it, it makes a difference. It gives more power to the snare. So let's get straight into it. So like I said, this is done in Serum. We are going to start off by a sine wave. We're going to go to basic shapes and just leave it as it is. Default setting of the basic shapes wavetable. And we're going to turn up the unison to around 10. We're going to create a MIDI note as well. We can put this at D sharp. We can probably raise it up like this. What you want to do in Serum is, like I said, turn up the unison to around 10 voices. And you want to go over to the global tab and you want to put the range all the way up, just for oscillator A, because that's the only oscillator we're going to be using, so that it really sounds detuned. So you want to put this octaves up. Let's try it like this. 3 octaves up is pretty fine. Of course, if you want to make a lower metallic sound, you can go for like 1 octave or like 2 octaves, but I would say 3 octaves or maybe 4. Let's see. We'll just stick to 3 octaves up for now, but let's see. We can go over to the wavetable editor and we can start adding some harmonic partials, which are extra frequencies to the sine wave, just to make it sound more metallic. Be careful though, you don't want to exaggerate on this. For example, like this, it sounds cool. Let's try like this. In the warp mode, you want to go over to sync and select sync window to transpose the octave and just mess around with the different sounds that you get from these. We can try like this, and we're going to envelope the level. I'm gonna go over to envelope 2, just go over here and envelope the level. We're gonna set the sustain down to 0%. As you can see, it starts sounding already like a bell or like a triangle or something like that. This is the interesting part, which is kind of out of the box. When you go to the filter, you want to go and select the ring mod filter, which is in the MISC section. Select ring mod, and you want to mess around with cutoff and also the resonance. As you can see, as I am moving this, you can actually get some different sounds. And you start actually getting even more metallic sounding effects. I like this one. The resonance doesn't really seem to do any difference, so we're just gonna put this down and leave it as it is. Now, on the EQ, you just want to make some simple EQ. So you just want to cut off the low frequencies. Be careful not to cut off too much. Try and get a little bit creative with this. You can actually envelope the frequency. Modulate the frequency knob with the envelope 2. Or you can use another envelope, a steeper one. Sustain down, decay even lower, so that you can actually get that resonance like effect, you know, if that's what you're going for. If not, just turn it off. I think like this is pretty cool. I'm gonna leave it on though. Put this even lower. And now, of course, you can just start messing around and trying to find some other different metallic timbres. I can actually save this metallic snare layer. I recommend that you save this when you feel satisfied with what you've done. Just save it and just start messing around. You can always go back to the preset that you just saved. You've got to be careful though, because this will put your effect out of tune, so you want to make sure that it stays in tune. What you can do is keep up with the note of your sound. You can just turn on the sub oscillator. It won't change the tone of the sub. It will just stay in D sharp, which is the note that we put in here. So you can just try and understand if your sound is actually in tune with the sub oscillator, which is the note that we're going for, in this case D sharp. As you can see, it doesn't really sound like D sharp. We can always try and match this. you can just go over to the EQ and emphasize the D sharp frequency. We can turn on patcher and understand which frequency area D sharp can be found. Turn this up more like 2 octaves. D sharp 7 is exactly at 2.5 kilohertz. Pretty interesting. So we're just gonna go over to the EQ, go over to the 2.5 kilohertz area. Just make the Q factor of the EQ steeper and just turn up the gain. Of course, to improve this, you can always try and match this with the fine tune. Of course, because it's a very atonal sound, it's going to be really difficult to tune this into D sharp. You can just keep on trying, and sometimes it won't really work. Of course, this is for snare layering, so it's important that you have the tone in here. That's why I use this technique where you go to the EQ and just emphasize the frequency area where the note is evident. And now you have yourself a cool metallic sound. You can just keep on messing around with this. There you go, pretty close to D sharp. Just turn on the volume. You can try compressing this as well. Just to make it more high frequency evident. Turn down the highs as well if it's too much, so that it's more evident in the high frequency area. Of course, you can add reverb to it if you want. Play. It's all about trial and error, to be honest. We can see if it sounds good with a snare. Just make the final EQ outside of our serum, just to remove the unnecessary lows. You know, anything above 6,500 hertz is pretty unnecessary. Alright, let's just choose a snare and see. Try this one. It's too much. Lower the volume down. Also, you can just consolidate this into audio. Instead of having this attack, we can go over here and automate the volume so that it just plays after the attack. It makes a bit of a difference so that it really doesn't clip. There you go. Thank you so much for watching it until the end, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this.